So what is a clause? It is a group of related words. It has a subject and verb combination. And it has a complete meaning by itself. You can consider a simple sentence as a clause. For example, he plays cricket regularly. Now, is this a clause? For that, we will check whether it is satisfying all the three conditions that we just discussed. Is it a group of words? Yes, it is. Here, he is the subject, plays is the verb, so it has a subject-verb combination. And the whole sentence, he plays cricket regularly, makes complete meaning by itself. Hence, we can say it is a clause. Now, clauses are mainly divided into two parts based on their usage. It may be independent clause or dependent clause. An independent clause is actually a complete sentence by itself. It doesn't need any other clause for its existence. For example, you may sit. Here, you is the subject and sit is the verb, and the whole sentence is giving a complete thought by itself. So, it's an independent clause. Then what is a dependent clause? It has a subject and a verb, but it doesn't have a complete thought by itself and is dependent on independent or main clause for a complete thought. For example, wherever you lie. Here, you is the subject and like is the verb, and the whole sentence is having a meaning as well, but it's incomplete. Now, let's add a main clause to this clause. You may sit, and now the whole sentence becomes you may sit wherever you like. Now, here the entire thought is complete with one main or independent clause and one dependent clause. This is all about dependent clause. Now, dependent clause are mainly divided into three types: noun clause, adjective clause, and adverb clause. Let's discuss about each of them. So what is a noun clause? Noun clause is a group of words having subject and verb of its own, and it acts as a noun in the sentence. For example, I fear that I will fail. Here, that I will fail is a clause as it is a group of words having subject and a verb, and the whole clause is acting as an object of the verb fear. So it's a noun clause. Let's look into one more example of it. That you have come pleases me. Here, that you have come is a noun clause as it is acting as a subject of the verb pleases. So basically this clause does the work of noun. Now let's look into the next type of clause, adjective clause. Adjective clause is a group of words having subject and a verb of its own, and it acts as an adjective in the sentence. Now what does adjective do? They describes noun, and so does the adjective clause. For example, the umbrella which has a broken handle is mine. Here the clause which has a broken handle is an adjective clause as it has a subject and a verb of its own and is describing the noun umbrella. Let's look into one more example. He met a girl whose eyes were blue. Here, whose eyes were blue is an adjective clause, and the clause is having a subject and a verb, and it is describing a noun girl. So basically this clause does the work of an adjective. Now let's look into next type of clause, adverb clause. Adverb clause is a group of words having subject and a verb of its own, and it acts as an adverb in the sentence. Now what does adverb do? They modifies verb, adjective or other adverbs in the sentence, and so does the adverb clause. For example, they rested when the evening came. Here, when the evening came is a clause as it has a subject evening and verb came, and it is describing verb rested. So it's an adverb clause. Let's look into one more example. I will give you a map so that you can find a way. Here, so that you can find a way is a clause as it has a subject and a verb and is describing the act of giving, which is a verb. So basically this clause does the work of an adverb. That's all about clauses in this video. Let's quickly revise what we have learnt in this video. Firstly, we learnt what is a clause. So a clause is a group of words with a subject and verb combination and has a meaning by itself. Then we discussed about two types of clauses, independent clause and dependent clause. Finally, we discussed about three types of dependent clauses, which are noun clause, which act as a noun in the sentence, adjective clause, which acts as an adjective in the sentence, and adverb clause, which acts as an adverb in the sentence.